What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here. So that was one of the most enjoyable plus stressful first halves that I've seen in a while. Second half was a little dull and frustrating at times, but yeah, that first half was. I mean, we played well. We knocked the ball around well, and obviously when they went down to 10, we had a lot more freedom to do so. But at the same time, having a referee like that, it always just your heart stops a little bit every single time he calls a foul against you because you're never sure, is this going to be the one where he decides, you know what, I'm going to equalize things. Like, whew, that referee today was, he's the type of referee I hate to see in just any game in general, because he's the type of referee that doesn't like physical contact. Anytime somebody goes over and rolls around, it's a foul. It doesn't matter if you get the ball. It doesn't matter if it was a fair challenge and shoulder to shoulder. It doesn't matter. They go over, they roll around, they get the foul. Sometimes they even foul you, like what happened with Loftus-Cheek in the second half. Guy steps in front of him, throws himself into him, and then falls over. Sometimes they foul you, and then they get the foul because he rolled over and rolled on the ground. And the referees didn't see the actual challenge, just saw the two coming together in his peripheral and saw the guy flopping on the ground and decided, you know what? I didn't see it, but I'm giving a foul anyway. It kills the game, and it's frustrating for the players as well because they're going out there. It's a physical contact sport, so you're going to get hit. You're going to, knock each other around a little bit. You're going to go shoulder to shoulder sometimes. And it doesn't matter because as soon as he sees somebody hit the ground and roll around, it's a foul. And it happened way too many times today. There was twice it happened after we won the ball fairly. Once with Kovacic in the first half, and then the challenge that unfortunately led to James. Who knows how long he's going to get injured this time. But the challenge that led to his injury, he wins the ball cleanly, but the guy, that he got shot in the foot, and then all of a sudden it's a foul on James. Makes sense. So, yeah, that part of it was frustrating. And again, made it very stressful that any challenge that we went into could be the last challenge for that player for the evening. But thankfully, we managed to get out of it without getting anybody sent off. I don't know for sure, but I think it might have been a tactical decision to take Mount off at halftime because he was on a yellow and because there's a chance that the referee didn't seem to like many of Mount's challenges. So, yeah, maybe it was a little bit of a let's be careful with this type of sub. And if that's the case, then might have been a good one. But anyways, on to Potter's decisions today. Lineup wise, I kind of expected something like this. Not a big fan of seeing Jorginho in there again, especially knowing that Milan are going to be putting a lot higher pressure on us. He doesn't do well under high press, and I'll get to his performance later. But yeah, I don't like that decision from Potter because it just shows he doesn't really still understand that Jorginho doesn't do well under high press. And just relying on him again means that we're going to probably be seeing him throughout the season as long as Conte stays out. So I know he is somehow beneficial to the team according to everybody in the media and whoever makes all these decisions and the coaching staff. I know he's beneficial to the team for them. But for me, I still don't really see, even after his really good performance against Wolves, I'm not sitting here going, I can't wait to see him again. I'm thinking, well, if he continues to do this, then I might get more excited to see him. But next game, he's back to the same old Jorginho. He's back to getting turned too easily. He's back to not really moving the ball quickly, knocking it backwards a lot. It's the same old stuff that I see that I'm not excited to see. So I really don't get why Potter turned to him again. But everybody else, kind of what I expected. Mount, Sterling, Aubameyang up front, typical. Chilwell, James, back three minus Fofana plus Chalobah. Yeah, it's kind of a typical lineup, and it's what I expected from him. Subs in the second half, though, is where I have a little bit of an issue because we're a man up and we're 2 goals up at halftime. Now he makes the switch with Mount, and again, don't know if that's because of the yellow card. Don't know if there was some other issue. Don't know if he just wanted to see something different. But that sub is kind of like okay, I can at least reason that a little bit. Second set of subs was Spilicueton for James, which I thought that sub should have come before because after the challenge, I'm thinking there's no need for James to keep playing. Just sub him out. We don't need to risk him. We just get him, get him ice, get him whatever he needs. But then they put him out, and he has to go on a sprint 5 minutes later. And now that could have made whatever the situation was even worse than it was before. So I feel like that sub should have happened before James eventually did get subbed. Um, but that's, I mean, it's Aspilicueta for James. That's a like for like kind of. You got same, at least style. They're going to stay out wide. They're going to get up and down the line, get up on the attack, back on defense, all of that. Now, quality-wise, obviously, on the ball, James is better. Defensively, I think Aspilicueta is a little bit better. And physically, James is better. But, yeah, Aspilicueta is going to give you a worker, so I don't mind that. Loftus-Cheek comes on for Sterling. Now, here's where I start to get a little iffy on the subs because now you've switched the system a little bit and you've made us much more deep. And I don't really like that. And it felt like after that sub, that's when Milan really started to have more chances going forward. Now, some of it was because players started to look lazy. Like the passes, knocking it around, we looked lazy, we looked slow. A lot of loose passes that led to chances for Milan. So some of that was from the players, but our system and our tactics set up after he brought on Loftus-Cheek pushed us a lot deeper, which meant Milan now had a lot more chances to get at us. When we lost the ball, we weren't losing it up top, but like we were in the first half whenever we were pushing forward. Now we're losing it somewhere in the midfield, and now they're breaking at our defense, and now it's a lot more dangerous for us. And the thing is, yes, we're a man up and we're 2 goals up, but they're at home. They feel aggrieved because they feel like the red card wasn't deserved. They're going to be pushing really hard. So the best thing for you to do is to put them away. Go get that third and the fourth goal, kill their confidence. But if we're sitting back a little bit deeper, we've now got 3 midfielders in there to sit deeper. Now they're going to have a lot of room to run at us. And if they get that goal from lucky little bounce or whatever, because we're playing so deep, one bad touch from a midfielder, which happens several times, now all of a sudden they get that one goal, they're right back in it. They're 1 goal away from tying it up after being 2 down and a man down. And I just don't get that. I don't get that decision because it feels too much like we're just going to sit in a little bit now. We've got the 2 goals, we've got a man up, we're just going to sit in. And I just don't agree. I think it's a game where you need to go kill them off. You need to put the third one in at least, if not 4, to make sure they don't have that confidence of we just got to get 1 goal and then we're back in it. We have a chance to equalize. I don't like that setup. And then Havertz on for Aubameyang really feels like we'll just have Havertz up there, maybe he can do something. And then Cucurella on for Chilwell just feels like a like-for-like switch. So I didn't really see any tactical decisions that got me excited today. I saw one tactical decision from Potter and his substitutions that made me get worried that we were going to sit so deep. Milan was going to have that one chance from one of our mistakes, which, again, it happened quite a few times. We had several mistakes that led to chances for them. And all of a sudden, now we're on the back foot, and they're so high, and they're flying, and the fans are behind them, and all of that. I don't like that decision from Potter. So that's all of my rant on Potter. As far as the individuals are concerned, Kepa today, again, not really tested, and ever since he's come in as the number 1, everybody's been ranting and raving about him. And what's funny to me is he hasn't really done much. Like, they're all talking about, oh yeah, he's the number 1. He's such a good. He's made, like, as far as I can remember, he has made 1 good save since he's come in, and that was against Palace. It was right after he let in the goal. 1 good save from outside the box, and even then, it was still within his diving distance. It wasn't like he had to, again, move his feet or anything. Outside of that, all of the saves that he's made in the past few games have been fairly straightforward. They've been at him, or they've been just straight reaction saves. He's not really done anything that's made me go, oh yeah, I'm excited to see more Kepa. And yet everybody's raving about him. At least articles I'm seeing are raving about him. How, oh, he's taken the number 1. We don't even want Mendy anymore. We're looking at other options to replace Mendy. I'm thinking, what? Like, where is this all coming from? Of course, there's also all this talk, oh, Mbappe's leaving PSG, and then like this one guy, Romano, I think is his name, comes out. No, that's not true at all. So probably a lot of what I'm hearing is just media trying to stir up stories, trying to say, oh, look, Kepa's number 1 now, and Mendy's out the door, and we don't want him. Media just loves to try to stir the pot on stuff like that. But as far as Kepa is concerned today, nothing really to get excited, nothing to harp on. It was just kind of a typical, made a couple decent saves, nothing too hard for him though. And even as far as like coming out and catching crosses or anything as like that's concerned, really wasn't tested there either. Like, they didn't really bomb balls into the box or anything. So, yeah, just kind of another game where he's not really being tested, so we still don't really know where he is as far as his talents are concerned. Into the back line, Chalobah, another solid performance from him. He did have the one mistake in the second half, which he kind of made up for by getting back up and challenging Leao. But outside of that, though, very solid performance. Won a lot of headers, defended well, kept his positioning well for the most part. I don't see why he doesn't play more whenever we have our full 11. I don't get why he's not one of the first ones on the team sheet, because every time he plays, he looks pretty good. He looks solid. He looks defensively good. I keep seeing all these reports too where people are talking about he has not lost a game since he started. I mean, if that's true, then I really don't see why we're not starting him more. But yeah, I hope these performances past few games have shown Potter what he can expect from him. Because, in my opinion, aside from a couple chances here and there, he's not put a foot wrong. So I really like seeing him out there. Silva, another typical Silva performance, had to read a few challenges, had to make some last-ditch tackles, kept the ball moving pretty well when it came to him. So there's nothing more I could say. When I say it's a Silva performance, I mean he did what he was supposed to do. He was one of our best players on the pitch, defensively very solid, no problems. That's a Silva performance for me. So I still don't get how he does it, being 38 years old at this level too. He just consistently puts in great performances. Koulibaly today was pretty good overall. I still have my issues with him occasionally. There are some times where I feel like he's not quite ready for what's coming, or he doesn't have an idea in his brain when the ball comes to him. So really, it's on the ball that I have my concerns for him. Outside of that, defensively, he typically puts in a good challenge. He doesn't do anything super crazy or super wild like we saw Rudiger do sometimes. So he's doing okay. I still would like to see just again that awareness of what's going on around him, whether it's tracking a runner or whether it's when he receives the ball. I feel like there are times when he's not quite tuned in to what's going on behind him or what's going on around him in his vicinity. So I would like to see just a little bit more awareness from him. But outside of that part of the game, I think he's doing pretty well. In the midfield, Jorginho Kovacic. Jorginho, I already talked a bit about him, but yeah, again, a game where he's getting exposed for being too slow to keep up with the pace of it. And I really hope that Potter sees it, because so far I'm not seeing that Potter sees it. I'm seeing that Potter still thinks he's a great player, just like the coaches that have came before him. So I'm feeling like I'm going to be seeing more of Jorginho being too slow to keep up with the pace of the game and giving away chances and getting turned too easily and giving the ball away, going backwards because he's under too much pressure, all of that. But who knows? Maybe, fingers crossed, maybe Potter will be the one to wise up and be like, you know what, Jorginho, you're not as good as everybody says you are. Because so far I've not had a coach, since Sarri brought him in, I've not seen a coach that has really done that for me. Kovacic, though, today was kind of a back and forth. Second half, I thought he was really poor. A lot of bad giveaways, passes were not really connecting very well. Some were overhit, some were too soft, some just missed the mark entirely. So I don't know what was going on second half, but he really dropped off. And I don't know if that's a laziness thing, if it's a concentration thing. He wasn't the only one in the second half that dropped off, but first half performance was solid. Really did well winning the ball, breaking up play, then getting the ball moving, and obviously his dribbling as well. Very solid. I would like to see, and I've said this about him before, but the finishing product in the final third, I would like to see that get better, because outside of the volley, there were several moments where I felt like he could take a shot and he chooses not to. And instead he takes 3 or 4 more touches and then gives it to somebody else who now has 3 or 4 players on them because he took too long to give it to him. So he either just needs to take the shot or he needs to get rid of the ball quicker. But there's too many times when he doesn't know what to do when he's in the final third. And instead he just keeps the ball until he either loses it or he gives it away to somebody who's under pressure and loses it. So yeah, I feel like with the quality that I've seen from him, he should be a lot more, I guess, clinical in the final third, or should be a lot more effective in the final third, but not seeing it enough from him. On the wingbacks, Chilwell today, he was available, he was out there, he's getting involved, put in a couple decent crosses occasionally, but not Still not quite the level that I've come to expect from him, and maybe I need to lower my expectations for him because he does work hard. He does put in a good solid shift. He never really causes us any issues on the left side. But because he had so many good performances last season before the injury, I have come to expect more from him. It's kind of like with Mount, where he is right now, I do expect more out of him. He's working hard, he's doing pretty well, and obviously he's gotten some assists in the past couple games, which is better, which is more what I expect from him. But he's still not finishing his shots, and that's kind of where I am with Chilwell. Like, I've seen him do better than what he has done. I've seen him be more effective in the final third. I've seen him take on guys more than he has in the final third and actually get a cross off that finds its target or have a shot that's on target at least. I'm not seeing that from him right now. I'm seeing a player that he works hard, he is busting it up and down the line, he's making himself available out wide on the wings, and that's great, but then he gets on the ball and I feel like nothing really comes of it. So hopefully he does find that form again that we saw last season, because I feel like he is a good player, just not quite what we're looking for at the moment. James on the right side, a lot more effective than Chilwell, just very, very good at getting up and down the line and being dangerous on the right side. Again, I feel like after that challenge, and you could see they were working the knee a little bit, I'm thinking just get him off. Just sub him off, because you don't want whatever that was. It looked like it could have been just a hyperextension because his leg, when he planted, did that kind of little, the knee did a little weird pop. It could have just been a hyperextension, but then you send him back out there, and now he turns to go on a sprint with Leao, and now he's sitting down again. That turn could have done something even worse than what it was before. So, in my opinion, Potter, that's his problem. That is his issue, and it was his mistake not to take James off earlier. And hopefully it's nothing too bad. Hopefully, again, just a hyperextension or a strain, which, even if it's a strain, now he's out for at least a month, just like Fofana. So, yeah, problems abound. But as far as his performance is concerned, typical James performance. He's out there. He's not really constantly, up and down the line. He's not constantly moving. But whenever he does get involved, he's very effective. And it's what I've come to expect out of him. Front three, Mount, again, getting better. A lot of energy, a lot of work. Winning the ball back is good. But quality in the final third needs to improve a bit more. Again, his assists looking good. He really has knocked some nice balls around in the past couple of games. His assist for Havertz and Pulisic in the last one, and now for this one, the assist to Aubameyang, really well taken. But in front of goal, when he's on the ball, when he's having the shot, it's got to get better, because he's not quite striking the ball as cleanly as we've come to expect from the past couple seasons. On the red card, there is the argument, and I didn't really talk about my opinion on the red card. I could see why the ref gave it, but I also could see why Milan fans will be upset, because it was pretty harsh. But from Mount's point of view, he does well to get him behind him. And yes, the tug back on the arm may have kept him from connecting cleanly, but I still feel like Mount in the past couple seasons would have gotten there and would have gotten a better touch on the ball than what he did. So it feels like everything's just a little off for him whenever he's about to have a shot. His technique, his body language, it looks a little off right now. And I don't know if that's a confidence thing. I don't know if that's a physical thing, but I hope it gets better, because, again, he is a player like Chilwell that last couple seasons, he's looked good. He's looked solid. His standard has been set really high, and he's not quite playing up to those standards right now. He's doing everything else outside of the finishing, but the finishing is really what's going to bring him back up to that high standard that a lot of us have set for him. But still a player that is very useful outside of that, and that's something that the fans that want Mount to get subbed off, they need to realize he's doing a lot of stuff outside of the finishing that still makes him a useful, beneficial player. Sterling, also somebody that's not playing up to their standards, but outside of even just playing up to the standards, I just don't think he's playing well right now. He looks like a player that's been sapped of confidence. He doesn't look like he's trying to take on players very often. He looks like he'd rather just keep possession and keep it knocking around. Anytime he gets on the ball, I'm expecting a quick turn. I'm expecting a change of pace. And instead what I see is a player who just receives it, gets challenged, and then knocks it back. And that's not Sterling. That's not the player that I was expecting to get. I've never been a big fan of Sterling, but I still thought he was a good player because he was good at taking players down the wing and then either getting challenged and going down, winning a foul, or driving down the line and being able to ride a challenge and get past him and then get into the box. And right now he's not doing any of that for us. And some of that is because I do think he needs to be played on the wing, not further inside where Potter has him now. But even so, I mean, he can still find that change of pace. He could still be able to work himself out wide, work with Chilwell. Maybe one of you runs inside while the other one overlaps. But I'm not seeing any of that. He's just sort of standing, waiting for the ball to come to him, and then it does, and he's not really doing anything with it. So, yeah, he's just looking like he's well out of form, well out of confidence, and he's a player that we need to find his confidence again because he should be playing a lot better than he is, and we need a lot more from him if we want to be successful long term, because we need all of our players to be playing well, not just a few. So hopefully he gets his confidence back soon and starts playing with the little bit of what we saw early on in the season under Tuchel. And maybe that's part of it, is he was looking like he was going to be Tuchel's man of the season, and then Tuchel's gone now. So maybe now a new coach, maybe he doesn't feel like he fits into the system as well. Maybe Potter's not looking to him as much as Tuchel was, and that's dropping his confidence. I don't know what it is, but he's got to get better, or he's got to get off, because we have players that are going to work harder and give us more on the field as well. Aubameyang, another game for him and another goal. He's doing well to find the right positioning right now. He's a little bit better today overall. I feel like the past couple performances that I've seen from him, they have been a bit less involved. It feels like he's sort of out of the game, and then suddenly scores, Today, it did feel a lot more like he was getting involved. He was looking to get on the ball more. He was working a bit harder. Still some moments where I see a little bit of what I had an issue with Lukaku for, which is if the ball is not the one he wants, he's not going to work for it. There were a couple in the first half and then one especially in the second half. The one in the second half I think was worse. But there are these moments where pass comes into him, but it's not the run he's making. And so the defender just sort of steps in front of him and wins it. And he's just like, well, crap, I guess that's it, I'm done. Instead of changing his run to get back to it, that's something I had an issue with Lukaku with. Overall, he didn't do it as much today as I saw Lukaku do in most of his games, but he still did it, and he still had some moments where we're working the ball well, we're knocking it around, keeping Milan working, and then we knock it up to him, and he doesn't change his run. Defender steps in, wins it easily, and now all of a sudden they're coming at us, and now we're on the back foot. The one in the second half, though, I think was definitely the worst one, mainly because he just wasn't turned on. He was just standing up there. Kovacic wins it, looks to get the ball forward quickly, sees that he's got some time and only has one defender on him. All he has to do is just either turn the defender or hold it up, and somebody's going to make a run up there with him. But he doesn't move. He just stands there. Defender just kind of steps in, knocks it away. I'm just like, okay, that's just laziness. But again, if he's scoring, I think that's really the big thing for a lot of people. Obviously for me, it's more than just scoring if you're playing striker, because again, Werner was a player I like to see up there. But if he is scoring and if he is winning games for us because of his goals, I'm not going to have as much of an issue with him as I did with Lukaku, who was also, he wasn't working for us, but he also wasn't scoring, and that was really killing us in some games. As far as the subs that came on, Gallagher coming on second half, I really feel like there's some games where he looks like he's trying to do too much. He's trying to force his way into the team, and in doing so, he over pushes himself, and that causes issues. Whether his passes aren't good because he's putting too much force on them, his shots aren't good because he's trying to kill it, and it's like if you've ever golfed, if you try to like really swing and crack it, most of the time your hands are all wonky and it'll just slice off to the right or pull it off to the left. I feel like Gallagher's kind of doing the same thing. He's working so hard to prove himself and so hard to get into that first team that he's actually making it worse for himself, because he's not really concentrating on what he's doing. He's just sort of getting in there, and I'm just going to rough him up, and I'm just going to do all this, and he has a shot, and it's well over the goal, or it's wide, or it's, right into the defender, that if he had just picked his head up and seen, oh, the defender's right there, maybe I should put it to that side. There's too many moments like that for him. And I love the intensity that he plays with. I love the work rate and the energy, but you need to focus that energy, or else you're just going to be running around like a chicken with your head cut off. And I've seen several players like that in the past. And, they're typically players, they do get the fans all excited because they are busting it all the time and they're working so hard and they'll put pressure on the defense, and off the ball they look great. But then you get them on the ball and that work rate doesn't stop, and the energy is all up here and they're just flying and they're, oh my gosh, I'm on top of it, and then too much energy into the shot and it's well over. So if he can focus that energy a bit more, if he can really, when he's on the ball, calm himself down a bit and try to find a better pass, try to find a better shot, instead of rushing himself so much and really, I gotta prove myself. I feel like that'll help him a bit more. I feel like it'll make him a more effective player on the ball. But I still, like I said, still enjoy watching him play. Still enjoy watching him work so hard off the ball. Next two subs is Billy Cueta. Came on, looked pretty much the same as he did against Wolves. Working up and down that touch line, very, very good. And it's just, he's showing all of the doubters, because again, a lot of, myself included, a lot of people were thinking, is Billy Cueta really against Wolves? Are we sure we want to do this with James so in form at the moment? But he came on and he showed what he could do. And again, today, came out off the bench, worked himself so hard, and it looked a danger at times. So it's not something I expect from him. I don't expect him to be a danger in the attacking third, but the fact that he is able to be gets me excited, because now I know, okay, if James is out for a couple weeks or a month, at least Azpilicueta is playing in decent form right now, and we can rely on him to mostly cover that spot. Obviously, he can't play every single game, but if he can at least cover some games, and then we can try, Loftus-Cheek has played there before. I don't really know who else we have at the club right now, because I know Dujon Sterling would be kind of the youth option to put out there that would be okay. But I don't remember if we loaned or sold him or not. But anyways, we'll see what happens. Hopefully James' injury is not too bad. Hopefully it's just a little something that hurt, but they look at it and they're like, you're good, because we don't need him to be out for an extended period of time again. Then Loftus-Cheek coming on the midfield. Honestly expected a little bit more from him. Like, he did do some good stuff, but there were some moments where it felt like he was getting outworked, and he's got enough strength and speed that he should not be getting outworked. There are too many times where I see him take on players and easily beat them that I don't expect players to be beating him. And that happened a few times today, because I feel like his touch was a little slow. He looked like he was kind of growing into the game at times. And that's fine if you're growing into it, but some of those moments came later on, like the 80th minute. So he was one of the players alongside Kovacic that I felt like was a little too loose with his passes, with his touches, as we're trying to end the game on the front foot, and it's making us feel like we're now under a lot of pressure, and it's causing a lot more stress. So Havertz came on, and it's okay. Worked a little bit, created a couple chances. There's one chance he really should have taken, because the ball came over the top, onside. All he has to do just take a touch and find it, and his touch is bad. Goes right to the keeper. So a little frustrating there, but he's a player that he'll have his moments. He will do okay. He'll work occasionally, but he's not going to bust it as much as a player like Broyo will, and I feel like that's kind of what we needed in the front for this one. But whatever the case, not a bad performance, just nothing really that helped us when he came on. And then the final one was Cucurella, and that was just kind of a like for like. Chilwell working all game, bring on Cucurella for some fresh legs down the left side. Also kind of a time wasting sub too, because it came pretty late. But he just came on, didn't really see much from him, because at that point it was much more of we're kind of almost pinned in a little bit, because we were so deep with our tactics and with our play that we're just knocking it around, and then we'll give it away, and now we're under pressure in our back line. So for Cucurella, he didn't really have a whole lot of time, and the tactics didn't really suit him coming on to make an effective play down on the other side of the field. So, but anyways, all that being said, we win. I think we're top of the group now. I didn't see actually who won the other game, so I don't know if Salzburg is still top of the group or not. But it puts us in a good position. Now we are 3 points ahead of Milan. I think we've got Zagreb at our place, which will be a lot better. Wait, do we actually? I can't remember now. I can't remember if we played Salzburg and Dinamo, if we played them at our place or at their place first leg. I'll have to look that up. But both of those games, you look at the first time we played them. First game of the Champions League season against Zagreb was under Tuchel. There was a feeling that something was wrong. We had lost a couple of games that we shouldn't be losing, and then that was kind of a nail in the coffin type of performance. And then we've got the game against Salzburg. First game under Potter. He hasn't really had a whole lot of time to fix the issues. So we looked okay. We looked better because there's always the bump whenever you get your new manager that you typically see in almost every team. So we looked okay, but we still didn't look complete. We still had some issues in the back. We still didn't look very good going forward. So for both of those teams, I feel like we didn't really get to see us play well against them. So I do have hope going into the second game against both of these teams that we will perform and we will look a lot better and we will manage to handle them, because I do think Milan was probably the toughest team in the group that we had to face, and we handled them very well. We handled them fairly easily. So now we just need to go in with the same mindset, with the same energy against both of the other teams, and I think we should have the job done. We should be able to finish top of the group, no problem. And obviously, without causing us too much issue in the league, either having to drop too much in the league. So we'll see what happens, but as far as this one's concerned, that's it for me. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts in the game today? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all the good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.